if you would just advise us how we can go about this, even outside of the space.
Yeah. So I'll talk real quick about this question about, how do we take the knowledge? How do we take the violence you're seeing and do something with it? And I think what right now is about is each of us, maybe individually, but in the collectivities we're already in, building something, right? And just doing it. I think that it is all of our responsibility to do that right now, to build the thing from our expertise or our personal experience. And this is the time for that. I mean, I don't know if that's a satisfying answer.
I was thinking about, we talk about this in my class, and a lot of the students who come to take my classes, they have some sense of how they feel about things. You start learning the language in classes, but it disconnects. You don't know what to do with it. You don't know how to share it, right? So when I teach, I try to help them figure out how to make that knowledge yours, right? So for instance, you learn a term, you should be able to explain it. You should be able to speak to it in the most simplest way, not mimicking, not parroting a text, but what to you makes sense. And we can only do this by doing it, if that makes sense. Like, you just have to start having those conversations everywhere, all the time, on some level. And I don't mean it as like a propaganda, right? I mean it as like, these are real conversations we need to have, right? And they're difficult conversations for so many of us. So I'm from India, and in a country that is like equally and at the same time and with the same strategies and the same companies and the same actors, the same weapons, also destroying the lives of Muslim people and Christian folks and indigenous people, right? At a rapid pace, It's happening very quickly. It's happening for a long time, but it's also happening quickly. And so I think about that question because for me, they're not separate. And it took decades for me to be able to convince my family that we should actually have this conversation. That it's not a hypothetical argument, which is how they would respond to me, right? How our Zionist friends here, right? It's kind of, I'm going to provoke you, play devil's advocate, and I think that is another tactic of distraction. No, there's actually real things happening, and there's a real reason to have this conversation. And so, every chance you get like have those days, work through them, that's important because, we have this idea that like our politics they're like an idea, they're conception. And similarly, people feel, I think students are supposed to writing. I just have to know the things I'm writing. No, those ideas are worked out in process as you're writing. They're worked out as you're talking. Those ideas get worked out as arguments, right? So like questions are coming up right now about the kind of escalation that happened, the repression from the university. We are learning in real time. And there's many, so much social movement theory I would love to share with you. Because that is at a conceptual level, but it is practically important. It is practically important for us to recognize what organizing is. How do we actually build power? Their power is not inevitable.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
I love that the monuments being torn down because it's so concrete. It's happened here, it's happened everywhere. Right? They tore the monuments down. That's a many decades of student movement, but also right, or like that night, essentially, like wherever it happened, it took that one act. That's how organizing happens. There is a kind of like unpredictability about it, and but it's also take that knowledge and we did the CEO workshop the other day, those of you who were here.
Super spreader event, my man. So we're sitting in on a bit of a planning session right now. Protest will be kicking off shortly, and they are talking about why they're here, what they're doing. The funny thing is there is no differing opinion allowed in this conversation.
We're part of one of the most powerful movements that has happened, period, and that is happening right now.
Everything's fine right now, but it's just now kicking off. I think it's interesting that they're having an actual discussion, but they're not allowing any opinion that differs from theirs at all. Here's the other thing. These professors standing up here talking, they're telling these people that APD, Austin Police Department, is trained by Israeli commandos. I kid you not. She told them all that they are trained by Israeli commandos.
This is all knowledge. This is knowledge you should be sharing. You can share this knowledge. There's 100 movements happening across campus.
Very dangerous
It's
and
up to you to figure
irresponsible.
out how do you learn and share those lessons, right? And the knowledge that comes out of movement is so powerful. You can find new forms as well, not just the ideas, but the forms that you create to share, to redistribute that knowledge are also equally important. So actually, can I ask if anyone else, because there's just, yeah. Who else? Folks who haven't spoken, ask questions, yeah.
In the interest of gaining knowledge, what are some books?
No discussion.
Books?
Is the rule, your rule to create about it, and like we'll put it on our Instagram and do that as well.
Yeah, Don, you're pretty much right there, dude.
There's like a lot of people who are here. Burnout for especially about self-care. I know that there's a book and there's going to be something very good about something about that. They just try to go around bookshops, but not getting it. And a lot of the fellows have their own material that they bringing. So you have to get we have those things as well.
There's actually a lot of resources circulating right now. There's a couple of publishing companies that have made their books available if you're student organizers. So it's worth kind of seeking them out. I think Haymarket might be one of them. There's a lot. I mean, there's companies that are making like e-books available, print books available. If you want to start a library, that is a great use of your energy and resources.
Outside Carla Hall tomorrow, so if you have materials you can share that you can bring, we'd be happy to take them, and we're going to be sending them more material as well.
Thank you.
Everyone hear that? Liberation Library outside of Harlan.
Actually, there are snacks here. Right down there, they have Middle Eastern food ready to go.
I want to hear from you if you haven't spoken. If you are, you don't usually speak. This is your space. I know that's such a broad open invitation. Everyone's like, no, I don't speak. There's a good reason.
So the question is, what's the best way to combat misinformation?
Specifically about anti-Semitism at protests.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is challenging, right? I think we have to, one, be fierce in calling out anti-Semitism when we see it. And if you have it in your heart, right? We have racism in our heart. We have other, then work on your own shit, right? All of us have shit to work on.
She's saying that everyone has racism in their heart,
the world is anti-Semitic,
and that the world is anti-Semitic.
the same way the world is racist, the same way the world is.
The same way the world is racist.
And so I think we have to just use that as a baseline, and then I think we have to actively combat it. I think when we have an opportunity to speak to people who might convey that message that our movement is anti-Semitic, I think we challenge it. I think we challenge it with folks who we encounter. I was at the doctor this morning. And I had this, blue band book shirt. She's like, oh, I love that shirt. She's like, feels like everything's banned right now. So then I'm thinking, oh, maybe, so I'm going to just do something real quick about, Palestine. And I was like, yeah, it's really hard. I was like, yesterday was really horrible on campus what happened to students. And she goes, oh, they were students? She's like, I heard they were all outside agitators. But I was like, no, actually, not at all. There maybe were some, folks from the outside, but mostly students. So just those moments like that, I think constantly have to intervene.
She's actually lying right now.
Right. We have to.
She's telling them that
Peaceful movement. We have very peaceful
all
movement.
of the protesters that were arrested yesterday were UT students, and that's a flat-out lie. She just flat-out lied to them.
Excuse me, just a quick question. I'm Sarah Carter. I'm with Fox News, so I'm not a student at all, but oh, so we can't just ask questions?
Like as media, since I can not get right wrong, I would ask you
So that we prioritize students.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thanks.
Yeah.
No worries.
Yeah, you know, I think
I do.
I think about, you know, right after October 7th, I was teaching a class. It was about disability, environmental justice, colonialism, racism, and we had a very difficult conversation. But we had a conversation which was not happening on campus, and part of that conversation that was hard is that for Jewish folks, this Zionism has weaponized their grief. And I'm not the first person to say this, so please go find that quote. But Zionism is a weaponization of grief, right? It's taking people's suffering and grief and turning it into a reason to perpetrate violence. All of us are capable of that. All of us are capable of that. So the thing is that despite my Zionist friends here who are, you know, not really wanting to talk, we could have a very real conversation, right? That is not a phenomenon that's particular to Zionists. It's actually very easy to have your grief weaponized because you are angry and because you've been screwed over. So I think that's actually, I mean, there's a lot of assumptions made, right, around anti-Semitism, but one of the things I would say two things. One, there's a kind of equation with who you are with what you must feel. If you are Jewish, you must feel that Israel should exist, and you must feel that Hamas is a terrorist organization. You must feel that you cannot speak about Palestinian suffering because somehow that negates Jewish suffering. There's a set of assumptions there that are not true. None of those things are actually true. Much of this movement is actively supported by Jewish anti-Zionist people. Much of this movement has been for a long time. That is not a new phenomenon, right? So I was bringing that up to my students to say, you know, in kind of theory language, let's say, feminist theory, Marxist theory, who you are, your subject position does not equal your political ideology. It does not. You are not who you are born as does not mean that you have to believe a certain way. We all have varying levels of privilege, oppression, access, right? Varied levels on different fronts. It doesn't equate to who you are, what you believe in your actions. It is always your responsibility and all of our responsibilities to work through those questions because these are not abstract questions. We are conditioned to believe the things we believe. There's a reason that Zionism, right, they're very organized. It's a very organized ideology. Hindutva, right, the Hindu fascist version of Zionism, or parallel rather, is a very organized ideology that started as a fringe movement, borrowing from Nazis, as has Zionism, right? These are fringe, what started as sort of fringe-like ideologies that have been very organized, and they have specifically targeted people for organizing who have suffered in order to capture them, right, into that ideology. This is how political systems operate, right? So that is also what we have to understand, that in order to combat that, we have to also break some of those assumptions that people are making, right? And to ask ourselves, what are those assumptions that we're buying into? Are you buying into that assumption about anti-Semitism? That,
Yes,
that
that's what's happening.
Anyway, I can't finish that thought, but I think you know what I mean. It's all right.
So how
Take your time.
kind of cope with, I guess, the difference in scale of what has been happening violence. And Israel has been setting up checkpoints around Rafah to basically, quote, military males inside in what seems to be the prelude of a sort of remnants of anti-fascism. Like, this is a level of violence, a level of meditated eliminationist violence that we are not seeing over here. And yet, everything that we've been facing here has already been, frankly, atrocious. Obviously, clearly violent. And way beyond the pale. How do we sort of like square these thoughts, you know, in our minds of like, this is completely unacceptable. This is...
And so is that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's it right there, is that both are completely unacceptable. State violence is unacceptable, and we want to resist it when we can, knowing that there is a difference in scale. I think for our purposes, gathering here, it's like the reason we are here is because of Gaza, right? And so keeping that center, but that does not negate what we've experienced as a community as well at all. In fact, it's connected.
I think, I think one of the things, and this is connected to that carrot conversation, I think we all need to learn how to grow our emotional capacity, right? We are capable of a lot, and in order for us to take this system on and to change it, we also have to grow that set of skills, just as much as we need to grow all the other skills that we need to develop, right? The direct action skills, the political education skills, communication skills, but also the emotional capacity to be able to not turn away. Because part of what they're depending on is that over time you will turn away. We will stop. That's what they're depending on, and we won't stop, right? So we have to make sure we figure out how to stay focused on what's happening and how to know that what's happening is unacceptable there, it's unacceptable here, and they're fundamentally connected. I think that part is actually really important. It's not about, solidarity is not about ignoring what's happening here. Solidarity is about recognizing that what happens there is also happening here at a different scale, in a different way, they're connected. So what we can shift here will have its impact there and elsewhere.
We have a meeting, so we have to run. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Very good speakers. One more time before they run off. I'm really glad y'all had so many questions. It was a really good discussion. I feel like we already did the Pally 101. But I mean, we'll continue. I kind of also wanted to add, since I raised my hand at some point, but I think that y'all had such great like questions that I wanted to hear before I speak. But we're at a point now where, I mean, we know where we stand, and we do not need to go year after year, decades through time.
They won't answer any questions.
Professor here on campus she told us gender studies as well.
A women and gender studies professor on our campus.
Women and gender, along with African diaspora studies. And we tried to have an open and honest conversation with her, just as she said she would love to have. But she said that she doesn't talk to Zionists.
Just to add
She told us that yesterday.
So she won't even, will she answer any questions about
No, she's willing to have peaceful dialogue if
women
it's
in Israel
it's on her.
October 7th?
And I tried raising my hand in that circle, and they ignored my question.
Clearly ignored. Could not have been more obvious.
She doesn't condemn Hamas. It's a terrorist organization.
I just want to add one specific example of this professor directly. On day one of the protest, or day two, she was sitting over there talking to one of her friends, and I wanted to come over and ask her why it was important for her as a faculty member to participate in these protests. And I came over, I put my sign, I turned it around, I was trying to be as respectful as possible, and she starts to answer me, Then she sees like that I'm wearing a bring them home hat. She like looks me up and down and she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. I have a sudden onset, unceasing migraine, and I really just need my space right now." And I'm like, I was blown away by the fact that she just came up with that on the spot. And I said, "I'm so sorry. I have Tylenol and ibuprofen in my backpack. Would you like?" And she's like, "No. It's just been like a really long day for the last couple days. Like, I just like my space. But, I'm a professor here. I'm here all the time. Like, I'd love to have a dialogue." And then, I walked away, this far away, and miraculously, Baruch Hashem, thank God, the migraine, it went away. She went right back to her conversation. It was great. It's like a miracle.
So you were actually the migraine.
I guess so. Or special powers, one of the two. Either way, you never know.
Let me ask you this question. For those of you here that are Jewish students, we saw what happened at UCLA. I was at Columbia last week. There's professors as well as students that feel threatened. They feel as though they can't even go on the campus, that their parents that they actually pay for themselves. How do you feel here on campus? I mean, you're seeing what's happening across the country. Is there any concern?
I can speak to that. I'm from Los Angeles, and I'm a Jew that goes here. Many of my Jewish friends that go to UCLA simply are just trying to walk. Just curious. Walk on their campus and go to their classes at their expensive tuition. And they can't do that safely. And there's videos of them simply just trying to walk with their hands up and just say, "I'm trying to go to class." That's all it is. Like, I don't want to eat on whatever you guys see, whatever that is. Let me go to class. They don't feel comfortable. I'm a senior right now. Yesterday, all I wanted to do is get my graduation pictures at the tower on our beautiful campus, and I don't feel safe being there. And I also just don't want in the background everything that's going on. I thank and commend our school for keeping us safe, but at a certain time, it's like it's saddening that we can't have open dialogues with the people that are standing up for their cause. All we want to do is have an open dialogue.
Well, and the fact that the professors that are actually leading these protests refuse to talk to Jewish students is very concerning to me. Are you concerned about the rise of anti-Semitism inside the United States, about your own?
People wear masks because they don't want to see, they don't want people to know who they are for the cause that they stand for. And if you're ashamed to stand up for what you believe in, that's an immediate red flag. And that's part of the reason why many of us don't feel safe.
I will say, I really appreciate how the university's been handling this and the fact that they protect us every time that we come out here. I think it's really important. Every time that we come out here, we see someone that's standing next to us, protecting us, and we always say thank you. We're very appreciative of everything that they do, because the difference between UT and other universities is that we have people, regardless of what side they believe, they're standing next to us and protecting us because they want all their students to feel safe, and that's something that we really appreciate here at UT.
Last question here, and then you guys can feel free to talk, because I think this is a good conversation to be having, and I think it's one that the American people need to hear. But professors that lead protests on university campuses, that are actually instigating these protests and delivering what appears to be false information to students, what do you think should happen with them? I mean, these professors said that IDF is training the Austin Police Department. They won't answer whether or not Hamas is a terrorist organization. Does it surprise you that you will have adults teaching that actually who are teaching lies?
I think probably the thing that I'm most uncomfortable with is that within our classrooms there are teachers that are sending out walkout flyers, and teachers that are openly not responding on Hamas and whether or not they're a terrorist organization. And I think that's what's really the most scary and threatening to us, because we're just trying to do our work and get good grades in our classes, and I don't want a teacher that's going to give me a worse grade just because I'm a Zionist. And I do think that they should be handling these teachers, and if it comes to it, then maybe they should be fired and removed from campus, because it's not a safe space for everyone.
Right, and what about a lot of students that don't believe even the Holocaust ever happened?
I mean, at the end of the day, everybody has their First Amendment right and free speech, but when it turns violent, it's most certainly not okay. And what they call a peaceful protest is most definitely not peaceful, telling us to go back to Germany, telling us that we will go in the ovens, telling us that they're going to come after us next is not okay. And when these professors do these things and aren't even open to having a peaceful discussion, that's when it turns that's when I'm just disappointed. You work here and your job is to talk to a diverse group of students. Like, exactly.
Like they do not deserve to work here. They do not deserve to walk here. They do not deserve to
And we're not saying they don't have a right
with students.
Yeah, but
They provoke
they-
violence. They
yes,
provoke
they're
misinformation.
provoking.
To stand here and ignore students because they're Zionists is ridiculous. She deserves no place on campus. To spread misinformation and sit there and talk about propaganda about fascist Zionism and how you can be an anti-Zionist Jew and how this is all misinformation and you can't walk around spreading hate around our campus.
I'm gonna throw something out. Like,
Go home.
I don't understand how a simple question of is Hamas a terrorist organization or not, when there are literally on October 7th, there are terrorists flying down from the skies with guns, shooting down at people. They're pulling women and children out of their homes. They're killing them and driving them down the street naked. There's videos of this. How can you not say that that is a terrorist organization? It blows my mind. I get that they want to have some if and or buts, but at a certain point, like, those are the facts. How can you deny that?
Well, and that's the thing. There are actual facts out there, and there are professors telling students that those facts are not real, that is just Israeli propaganda. And you just got told the other day to go to Poland. I mean, how does that make you feel?
Like, you hear about like other Jewish students being told that and never thought it was going to be me. And yesterday I'm just like observing, watching, and someone is screaming at me and my friends and tells us to go back to Poland. And I said, I've never had family there. I'm not from there. And she's like, yeah, you are. And I was like, okay, I've never had a single member of my family.
It actually makes me very concerned about the amount of money that people are spending on higher education when so many young adults have no concept of history or what actually really signifies genocide or racism.
Absolutely. There's nothing prestigious about Columbia. There's nothing prestigious about Harvard. There's nothing prestigious about an institution that would allow students to take over the building where their dean of students' office is and chant for an intifada and chant genocidal chants and stop class. It's final season. People have things to do.
Would this happen to any other group? Would they allow
No.
protests on campus if it was African American, Native American, Asian American, whatever? No, it wouldn't happen, would it?
Texas is a prime example that you do not need to be a college student to be. I mean, you need to be, like, just because you go to college doesn't mean you're educated. All of these people here are so misinformed. It's absolutely mind-boggling. A lot of them get their information off of TikTok. And if you're one of those that doesn't believe in October 7th, I urge you to watch Screams Before Silence. They interview hostages. They talk about the whole October 7th atrocity. And it's the most incredible documentary.
The Supernova documentary is also a great one if you don't believe in October 7th. Great documentary. As Longhorn students for Israel, we actually streamed it a few weeks ago, and we invited anyone that we could to come join. And I really wish that more of these people had come watched it.
Let me ask you a question. As Jewish students here on campus, do you have enough support from other organizations that will come out here and stand by your side, or are people just remaining silent because they're afraid of this? They don't want to get involved, or because I'm trying to understand why there's only like 10 of you right now, or maybe 15.
This is an anomaly. Usually a lot of people stand out because we know that we're safe. Yesterday just happened to be a case where the protest was not so peaceful and there happened to be a lot of violence that came from it, which is why a lot of people aren't here. Also, I'd like to note that it's final season, so clearly a lot of people aren't here.
I need to go to class. I need to go study.
We have places to be,
but the state of Texas stands with Israel. And so does our administration. And we thank them so much. So don't mess with Texas.
Don't mess with
We have a university that will protect us and that will get the means to protect their Jewish students.
Other schools need to follow.
It's Passover, and my friends back in LA, they can't even go to their own graduation. They don't feel comfortable leaving their home because they don't feel safe. It's sad. And
If you could get a message, and I'll make this my final question so you all can go study and actually go to class. I'm sure you have so much to do. What is the message that you want to get across to the American people that will be watching this tonight? What would you like from those that understand what you've been through, that have maybe seen those videos of what happened on October 7th, what do they need to do now? What do Americans need to do now, no matter what their background?
I can see this. I think it's extremely important to stay educated, go with unbiased facts about everything that's happening. Do not ever be afraid to be an activist. When you see hatred and bigotry and anti-Semitism, racism, any kind of hatred, you need to speak out and say something and stop that. It's not okay. And in the age of social media, it's easy for things to get blown out of proportions, but doing the right thing and choosing love and not hatred is huge. And I really encourage people to stay educated, and for the Jewish people out there, like, it's very important to continue to stay proud to be Jewish. It's very challenging nowadays because it's easy to not feel safe, but the Jewish community is strong, they stay together, and it's really important to stay proud and continue to show your pride in Judaism. Because frankly, like, I know it's hard, but we're not going anywhere, and we feel strong together, and that's what makes this community so special.
It's also time to wake up. I mean,
and maybe
it's very,
get people to come out.
It's very much time to wake up. I mean, if you're going to sit on the lawn of UT Austin with a mask on for free pizza, it's time to wake up and learn that what this professor's spreading is not true. It's time to open a book. It's time to read history. History repeats itself. We're here because we don't want history to repeat itself. We're here because we're not leaving our country because of religious persecution. We're not going to be in concentration camps. Like, we're here because this is America. We're in America because this is a free country. If you're sitting here and covering your face, I think, why would you cover your face if you're not sitting there for something wrong? Because hate covers their faces. We're here, we're proud, we're loud. We're here because we're going to wear our Stars of David. We're not going anywhere. We're not going to let history repeat itself. If you want to progress America,
If you're a woman, I think that at the end of the day, the way that we're seeing community right now is not moving away.
Is that your back? On the wall? Okay. Yeah, come up here soon. No student organization reserved this space legally. I'm sending it to legal right now.
Why are you wearing that shirt?
It's up to you guys to disengage.
Hey, how's it going?
All right.
I do.
All right, guys. So, interesting. Thanks, Don. Appreciate it, man. Yeah. I'm kind of having trouble following.
At your event. You have swastikas at your event. You have swastikas at your event, and there's no debating any of
What
that.
do you mean fabricating? A 10-year-old just saw a swastika. What do you mean? All of a sudden, you've been here the whole time. What did I say? I asked. I said, what happened to a young person in Gaza?
Sorry.
What happened? Don't talk to me like that. Don't talk to me like that. Don't talk to me like that. Oh, that's what I said.
That's exactly not how it on video.
Sorry.
So they had a swastika here. That's what this was about just now. There was a swastika out there in the crowd of the Palestinian protesters. One of their yeah, they were getting a little spicy over the fact that they had a swastika. The pro-Palestinian folks had a swastika on one of their protest signs, which is, I mean, as you can imagine, if you're Jewish, they're already fighting against the Jewish, and then they have swastikas. You can imagine how that turned out. But for all those just joining, basically the pro-Palestinians had a little sit-down powwow. The most shocking thing that I heard was the professors here at the University of Texas actually telling the protesters that the Austin police is trained by the IDF. I kid you not, she said it. I was streaming when it happened. I don't know if you could hear it or not, but watch Fox News tonight. It'll be on Fox tonight. But yeah, crazy. You guys ever get tired of all this? Y'all ever get tired of all this? I would, man. I don't know how you do it. Those cops are like, fuck this. Yeah, I'm trying to find the swastika. It's in here somewhere. Let's see if we can't find it over here. I'm sure they probably destroyed it since they were called out on it. This is kind of a boring protest, to be honest. There's just not a whole lot happening here right now. A little boring. So we're gonna go walk around and see what's what. I wish you were here too, man. Tyler, Inferno, whatever your name is. Whatever you want to be called, my man. Tobacco Free Campus. This guy's from KXAN. He's a little bit late. He's a little late. He filmed me in a homeless camp a couple of months ago. Don, I appreciate it. I mean, you know, things may kick off a little bit later. I don't really know. It's, you never know really what's going to happen with these things, you know? Dave, I wish you were everywhere. You want to come live with me? Come on, man. Come move in. You can bring your dog. Well, you know, this university has a bit of a history. I don't know if y'all remember what happened right up there, but I believe it was August 2nd, 1966, that Charles Whitman went up there and did his nastiness with a sniper rifle. Killed a lot of people right out here where we're sitting right now. Nope, no tents. And I'm telling you right now, since there's no tents and there's not an encampment being created, there will be no police out here, really. I mean, the UT police are kind of here. They're stationed around the area. They're right over there. They're up in that corner, over in that corner. I asked those cops over in that corner over there if they got tired of this. They wouldn't say it out loud, and I wasn't filming them, but they're like, yeah. You could see him mouth like, fuck yeah. DC Dave stood me up Wednesday. He's out. He's at home being a little girl. That's DC Dave for you. I didn't have clean pants this morning, so I'm wearing the same ones. I hear a bunch of sirens coming this way. Dave, did you really just say that? There sure is a lot of sirens headed this way. This is kind of what it sounded like last week when the cavalry arrived. Yeah, Dave is a wuss Wednesday. The dude is a wuss. Man, I'm starving too, Thunder. Average them. Thunder B, average them. I am starving. Yeah, you did stand me up. You stood me up today. I'm flying solo. You get to have a lovely self-care day, and I'm stuck out here with the idiots. But that food that they were eating up there did look pretty good. But of course, I'm not allowed, you know? Not allowed to have any of that food. Oh, man. No snacks is my YouTube privilege. I have a YouTube privilege. YouTube did me dirty. That's what YouTube did. YouTube did me dirty, boys. Hang on, boys, hang on. YouTube did do me dirty. They demonetized me. They're like, nah, you can't be paid anymore for your work. Oh, YT. Oh, Mr. Bully. Okay, I get you. Ugh. Yeah, if things don't pick up, I'm gonna go home and hang out with my boys because I miss them. I wore deodorant. Dead giveaway. Yeah, I did wear deodorant. Actually, I got some new deodorant. It's called hair. It's the Harry's. You know, the shaving cream, but it's deodorant. That Harry's deodorant. I swear to you, you wear it and it gets hot. You walk by a chick, pant dropper right there. Dead giveaway. I wished I was smoking a blunt right now. I haven't smoked dope in, I don't know, 20 years maybe. You use that for years now, the Harry's deodorant. I'm telling you, if you're a single guy, you won't be single for long. Wednesday says, you wish. I'm telling you, it happens. Y'all want me to film it? I'll do it. I'll walk right up there. You see what happens. I might pick up a charge, though. We might pick up a charge for that one. These guys are out here doing some soccer. We're going to walk back up in the crowd in just a second. I had to take a little bit of a break and sit down for a minute. So did y'all hear that the Palestinian Solidarity Committee was canceled? They were an approved organization on this campus, and now they are done. I remember that basketball player. I'm still confused if she is a she or a he. I've seen videos that makes it look like she is a he, but hacky sack. Y'all see, hang on. Y'all see that lady right there? That lady right there? That lady had, when the last, not the last SWAT call out, but the one before that, I watched her fall at the Jack in the Box. She was with Univision, and she completely busted her ass at the Jack in the Box. And I mean, busted. Busted. Yeah, it's weird, ain't it, Don? I think that's a little odd myself. Alright, y'all want to walk back up and see what's happening in a crowd of idiots? Alright, let's do it. Get my water put up. You know, guys, one day, my little channel is growing very fast right now. And one day I might actually make money doing this. One day. Because right now, I am not. There's my shades. Look at that. Look what I almost did, y'all. Look at that. Almost left my shades. My shades. Free Palestine. I want free bear. Let's go see what they're doing. They're all sitting down again. This is where the swastika was a while ago. But you know what? Here's what's going to happen. If I say anything publicly about there being a swastika in that circle, which there was, I saw it, I will be shouted down, and I will get 5 more death threats in my ex DMs tonight. I got enough last night after talking about this stuff. One of the guys that I used to work pretty closely with, no, I didn't find my phone, Anna. One of the guys I used to work pretty closely with doing this sent me a message last night, and he said, I should have known what you would turn out to be just because of covering these protests. Austin Johnson, I don't know. I don't know how to monetize it, but if you come up with anything, you let me know, because it's getting expensive. I covered a murder on Red River Street over the weekend, a press conference. I covered a press conference on Red River, 30-minute press conference, and it cost me $53 to park. No wackadoodle, ain't nobody gonna buy Dash merch. That would be crazy. What kind of merch would I sell? Yeah, Portland Andy. He was streaming one of my streams last week, I think, if I remember right. But I want to find that swastika.
Why do we cover our faces if we're proud?
I don't see it though. I'm sure they probably got rid of it.
I know they're all functions.
Are you guys meeting tomorrow?
Used insulin needles. Yeah, we can collect needles. I do collect needles, by the way. I collect them in a bucket, and then we take them to Walgreens and throw them away. So, this is the most absolute boring protest I've ever been to. This is even more boring than day 2 of last week. There's just not anything happening right now. So, yeah, that was really interesting about the professors. They were talking, but literally, if you asked a question that was anywhere close to being outside of their worldview, shut down just like that. Yeah, Anna, I saw that, but they're still looking for the guy that did it. They did make an arrest, but the arrest that they made, I don't think it is the actual shooter, and I don't think they think so either. But, I mean... Yeah, well, you know, looks like they're basically having a picnic right now. I mean, seriously, it's kind of what it looks like. So, I don't know. I guess we could talk to some people, but I don't know what the point of that would be honest. I need to get me one of those big lights. What do you think? Walk around with just a big light. This is my hat. No, none of I don't think any of the ODs were related to the protest at all. But, I mean, who knows, really? I'm sure somebody out here is on fentanyl right now. I mean, chances are better that they are, you know?
Go, say hi.
So...
Great and handsome. Wow.
Yeah, well, all these people are basically just kind of chilling at this point.
We're gonna go. We can go get some.
Wait, we're on Fox.
National Fox News at 8 p.m.
All right, guys, I'm gonna go feed the meter. I'll let you guys walk with me for a bit. I gotta go feed the. You know what? I gotta figure out if I want to continue to sit out here all day. See, my problem is, see, she works alone. That's how she fell. Oh yeah, that was yeah. There's kids at the protest for sure. Yeah, kids at the protest, 100%. So here's the problem: if I leave because it's a boring protest and there's just nothing to see, something's gonna pop off. You watch and see. And then I'll be 30 minutes away and can't get back here quick enough. So, but I also want to go see my kids. So, I don't know. Bring your kids to the protest. My 11-year-old would have killed to have been here with me right now. Hush it, Dave. She's a sweet woman. She's from Univision. She interviewed me one time. You know, when you're reporting on the news, man, all you see is from the head up. You know, you don't have to see everything. So you know, you can have a big rump. So let's see. Alex W. Here's what you do. If things happen to pop off out here, you're going to come out of here and film it for me, and I'll pay you. How about that? You know, these cops got to be hotter than hell. I mean, everything's back to normal out here on the... You know, there's kids running around out here. I mean, come on, you know you can drive in. 5 hours is nothing. 5 hours is nothing. Man, that is one tall woman. You see how tall that girl is? You think she plays basketball? I'm 6 foot and she's at least 4 inches taller than me.
Like that's why when I read her class, was like,
alright. Well guys, I'll tell you what.
but like
I will talk to you guys later. I appreciate everyone watching. If anything does happen to happen, I will be back. It may take me a minute to get here, but I will be back and we'll cover it live. Thanks for watching.